All right. Okay, so here we are for our, I think, third meeting with Dr. Arturo. While we're waiting for him, Eddy is going to introduce him and tell us about Dr. Arturo and the melanin, right? So
Yes.
Here you go.
Dr. Arturo is a 36-year licensed medical doctor in Agua Caliente, about 3 hours from Mexico City. And he has many peer-reviewed white papers that have stunned the life science world, from biology, immunology, ophthalmology. And his melanin activation is like no other that I'm aware of whatsoever in the history of melanin science, which goes back to ancient India, ancient Africa, and all the original great civilizations that were taught were non-existent, and that this society is the superior civilization, and all other societies did not exist, like Atlantis, Lemuria, etc. You may not, be aware or believe in those, but there were many, many great civilizations, and we have all the evidence that they all knew that melanin was the foundation stone, as NASA itself has concluded in 2014, finding the melanin molecule in all interstellar space as far as they can see, and they can see for miles and light years in space. So there are many forms of melanin. They concluded that melanin is essential to all life. How many people on this planet have even a clue with what melanin is, besides one level of which it is a pigment? Yes, it is a pigment, but it is the pigment of the green of the grass, the blue of your sky, the blackness of space, and what's most central to the ideal immunology of every cell of your body. Melanin exists in every cell of every human body. So the great secrets of melanin are vast. I would say Dr. Arturo is perhaps the leading person in the world, although there are some other melanin giants. He knows some, and I certainly know my share, and they have parts of the puzzle too. But the end result after 36 years is an amazing product Dr. Arturo has called Tiapi, which will activate melanin for people despite any cultural, genetic disadvantages. Even the darkest people that make melanin don't make enough quality melanin. The neuromelanin is what activates and empowers the deepest part of your brain, your heart, all central organs, reproductive, digestive, circulatory, etc. This is the majesty of melanin. The website for Dr. Arturo and his work and his book is humanphotosynthesis.com.
Great, thank you.
So Nellie, tell me more about you, because I'm not sure how to convey, because I don't know who I'm conveying to. I mean, I'm memorializing this for lots of people to come along in the near future, but tell me more about your specialty, and I'll accustom or myself and fine tune what's most relevant about this to what you do as a doctor. I don't know what kind of health practitioner you are, but maybe you can tell me that.
Yeah, sure. I'm an acupuncturist, Chinese herbalist, and homeopath, and I deal with nutrition too. So have a clinic in Aventura for 25, 26 years now. And family practice, I see 2-day-old babies up to 97-year-old ladies. So all round, see pretty much a little bit of everything. And I also have a quantum biofeedback machine, which I love to use. And I work with some other frequency devices.
The melanin molecule has been described as the original eternal quantum energy communicator of all living things. Melanin is in every living thing, in the deepest of the ocean, to the albatross in the sky, the hibernating bear and the turtle, in any nation, in any biome, land, sea, and air, right down to the microbes. After they took the lid off of the Chernobyl and Fukushima reactors in Chernobyl's case, after 20 years of it being sealed, it was filled with this very mysterious mass of microbes that just loved radiation that would kill 5 times the lethal dose for humans. That level of radiation meant nothing. That was literally food. That was food to these microbes. After 10 years, the best nuclear physicists, biophysicists, astrophysicists on the planet concluded that that blackness, that deep, deep blackness, no matter what species or variety of those microbes there were, was the blackness of the melanin molecule, which is predominantly carbon, some nitrogen, and some oxygen. It's a true 30 nanometers in diameter. Nanometer is about 1/100 of a meter. So this fits right in with the subtle homeopathy and acupuncturist legacy of subtle, non-visible networks of communication that are central to our health. So melanin is actually experienced by my friend who's a master acupuncturist and chiropractor for 30 years, one of the most famous in California, who's had chronic fibromyalgia for 10 years and no protocol, no nutrition, no quantum generator, no even DE system, which is a very profound, I think the most profound life wave science as far as mechanical device on the planet, was ever really able to significantly help her fibromyalgia. She took this product, this melanin activation, that's what I call it. That's what it does. The product is called Chiapi. Dr. Arturo, not being a merchant of Venice, he's a merchant of love, I would say, as far as what he's doing. He's got people legally blind for 10 years as an ophthalmologist. He did a study with 6,000 people for 12 years. He's got people that were legally blind driving cars safely, people recovering from renal failure, cancer. Now he has a white paper, 30 cases of COVID-19 over, because melanin oxygenates the cell so deeply, it takes the ambient water in every cell. The average male is about 85% water, although we're all dehydrated. None of us get enough water, very few people. Nevertheless, melanin takes the ambient water in every cell, disassociates very quickly some of that oxygen, those oxygen atoms from the H2O molecule. Not all. And of course, it does another amazing thing. Hydrogen. Hydrogen is one of the greatest engines of all creation. Hydrogen is found everywhere. It's common in all existence. So melanin, very quietly for eons, has this ability, but very few of us have known how to unlock it. I would say Arturo is the leader in the world for this application. There are applications that super oxygenate 1,000 liters of water in 3 hours. And of course, healthy water is important to the healthy cell. And outside of COVID, still the leading problem on this earth with health-wise is infectious agents in water. So here NASA is using this to clean water and keep astronauts safe from extreme radiation in space. But very few people, characteristically in our society, that have money and influence, take something profound and use it for the masses to liberate them. So this is like a cellular sovereignty manifesto, this description and proclamation that I'm doing, and I only stand on the shoulders of many giants. So it's not anything that I made up. My article probably comprises the Melanin Manifesto historically and scientifically as well as anything, even though there are dozens of white papers by people with triple PhDs in molecular biology, biochemistry, physiology, electrophysiology of the cell from Harvard and NASA. I actually have a good 360 of all of that pertinent to melanin. So it's a challenge to do it because there's so many kinds of readers, but that's probably as good as the Bible of melanin. Even though Arturo has a very good book on melanin, it doesn't go into the intercultural history and how ancient civilizations literally talked about this black magic. Our leaders have learned to put spin on all these things. Black Friday, Black Ball, and here Melanin, the richer it is in the system, the blacker it is. So we're all Black-owned companies on the inside. On the outside, we might be Puerto Rican, Chinese, American Indian, or an albino. Even albinos have some functioning melanin. Not much, but they must. Nothing lives without melanin. But the product is a humdinger. This is not a commercial call. It's an invitation to share knowledge, because he may have one of the most fundamental ways to imbue the immune system of humans to be resistant even to the new viruses, which are, their mortality rate is 95%, like the Nipah virus and the Hendra virus, and those are already spreading. Whether they're made in a lab or not, the main thing is our body is designed to be the perfect instrument. No supercomputer, no Picasso, no Empire State Building. Nothing can match the potential of the human body. It houses our soul. It houses our intuition, our Reiki tendency, all of that. We must have the ultimate healthy self. And what is common to 1.6 quadrillion cells more than anything other than oxygen and light? I would say the trinity of all cosmology and life, according to Dr. Arturo himself, is light, oxygen, light, water, and melanin. Light, water, and melanin. In the Bible, it says there was darkness before the light. What was that darkness? Melanin speaks to all forms of darkness and light. MIT actually said that after 20 years, they couldn't completely understand the molecule because a lot of it exists in the dark energy, dark matter, invisible world that ancient cultures have always talked about. And now it's popular among a few quantum physicists. So anyway, that's probably more than you need to know right now. But I'm saying this for you and hundreds of people, thousands of people that in the coming weeks and months will hear these 3 different presentations that I coordinated with the help of Dr. Arturo Solis Herrera. Dr. Arturo Solis Herrera, website humanphotosynthesis.com. He has several products, sublingual, topical. He has one to purify water on a large scale for a whole river, a lake, and that is an amazing thing too. So we're just, the melanin millennium is just beginning.
Great, Eddy. So Nelly, you have a question?
No, that was a very thorough introduction and a good base. Yes.
In the future, Nelly, thank you for being on this call. There's always a reason for everything. The challenge is to find it. We were thinking there might be 10 people on this call, but it really never matters. The main thing is you just try to make the most of what happens in the moment. And I think we are. So where are you located at? What state?
Florida, Aventura, North Miami.
Okay, good. All right. I just wanted to be sure, partly for the record of this call. And one thing I want to emphasize that in the future, we'll have calls with Dr. Arturo himself. Now, I think he probably forgot about this call. He's like the ultimate absent mind. Well, I don't want to say that on record. Let's just put it this way. He's got enough genius things going on. He may forget that he's supposed to be on a call. And so maybe while I'm giving my presentation, Nada, you can remind him, even if you already have, because sometimes he needs more than one reminder.
Yeah, I have sent him an email, so because that's the only way how I communicate with him. So
it's okay. It's fine. It's all good. It's okay. Everything is fine. The product is spelled. I'll tell you how to spell the product. And this is not a sales call. I'm just describing the theory, the application, the product. People can make all their own conclusions. The name of the product is spelled Q, like quantum, I as in India, A as in America, P as in peace, and then I and the number 1, Tiapi1. Okay. Now he has a topical, especially for the eyes, but I use it for everything on my scalp, etc. And it is called Cutinia. Q like quantum, T-I-N like 10, I-A like Italian American. Cutinia. Is anyone coming on? Oh.
There is a new member. It's Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hi, how are you? I finally figured out how to get in and could hear you.
Thank you. Karen is with Daryl Wolf who's a world famous naturopathic doctor, the doctor of detox. He's opening up a 300 hotel safe haven in Mexico, in Ixtapa, not far, maybe a couple hours from Dr. Arturo Solis Herrera, who's the world's expert on human melanin therapeutics. So anyway, Karen does other things. She's helping me host what I think is the best blog so far on melanin. If somebody has better, then I'll be happy to recommend that. But this is the article 314. There are several article 314s on my website. This one is 314, nano resonant, nano, N-A-N-O, resonant, R-E-S-O-N-A-N-T, nano resonant neuro, as in neurology, N-E-U-R-O, melanin, M-E-L-A-N-I-N. I have several 314s. The website is Golden Singular, Opportunities Plural, Development.com. And you can try www.htp if you don't get it. It is up there. People call me every day and say it doesn't exist. Well, if you check your browser, now you can just do a search on cyberspace. You don't even need the website. Just search for nano-resonant neuromelanin. You'll find the ongoing blog. We started with 2 pages. It's going to be a book. It is an ebook now. It's easily 80, if not 140 pages. And maybe I'll stop when it's at 360. And there's over 300 scientific references from labs from MIT, the very famous Mayo Clinic did a very famous secret study back in the 50s. I give the actual dates, references, who did those studies. Very famous organizations like the Max Planck Institute. Max Planck helped create quantum theory with Albert Einstein, other great physicists, well over 50, closer to 100 years ago. So the very famous Max Planck Institute has investigated melanin and other immune builders too. So melanin is a biomolecule. And in the article, I revealed that there are other miraculous biomolecules that are tremendously immune building. Ancient China quelled many epidemics, as big as China itself, many times using these biomolecules. What's amazing about melanin, it seems to be the base of some of the most immune-resistant botanicals on Earth. Chaga mushroom is jet black and is perhaps the highest overall immune-building mushroom on Earth. Of course, there's lion's mane and cordyceps that made all the Chinese Olympic athletes in months. So there are other amazing mushrooms, and there is the greatest source in nature of melanin is the chaga mushroom and shilajit, which is the most ancient compilation of hundreds of thousands of plants now extinct, living in a pristine environment, hundreds of thousands of years ago, that were put together in a food bank, in a carbon layer in the mountains of Pakistan, Siberia, and India, the Himalayas. So shilajit and chaga make a great place to start with melanin. And then the proprietary secrets of melanin activation is what's in Dr. Arturo Solis Herrera's what I call melanin activation. You can get melatonin and you can get things that stimulate melanin on the market, and some do, but nothing has reactivated the inherent melanin system, just like we have an endogenous cannabinol system. We have an endogenous melanin system that is pretty much dormant. It's a vestigial network in every cell. I mean, it does operate. We couldn't live without it, but it's primarily tremendously deactivated from the fluoride in the water, which calcifies the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is the first gland, the first thing in the human embryo, all over the world for the first maybe 2 or 3 months. It's just the pineal gland, not the heart. And why the pineal gland? Because it's very central with the pituitary in making hormones to activate the melanin network. 10%, the biggest organ we have is our skin. A lot of the melanin is made in our skin. However, melanin is made in your spine, in your central nervous system, throughout your brain. It's a very subtle network. Very few melanin experts really have the whole story, because the whole story requires that you go from A to Z in the Encyclopedia of Melanin, which I can't say anyone has, but I think maybe I'm a little closer than the average melanin expert. That includes people with pedigrees, which I respect, no doubt, But anyway, that's enough, I think, about my explanation. But maybe Karen, she might want to be a reseller. She has some chronic health challenges, and she's going to kick the tires and try the melanin and see how it helps her. So, Karen, I don't want to speak for you. However, you want to share what you're comfortable with about what you're doing in the health world and why. I'll leave that up to you. This is Karen Huntner, and she's helped me with the blog, Article 314. Nano-resident neuromelanin, with only one other trooper out there, this wonderful veterinarian student, Ariana in Oregon. She's been my primary help in creating this article, Nano-resident neuromelanin. I really encourage everyone to read it. A lot of people say it's too scientific. Other people will say there's too many jokes, but no one person can be the communicator perfectly for thousands of kinds of people, but I try. So anyway, Karen, you want to tell us about your interest in melanin, or even the essential oils if we want to go there, but I want to cover the melanin base first.
Eddy, there is a question regarding, do you know where Dr. Arturo's melanin derives from?
Yes, I do. He has a B vitamin, a salicylic acid, and the source of his melanin, I'm not so sure if he wanted me to divulge that, but the melanin source that I brought him, he's thinking of completely abandoning ship and using that as the source. Now, what is that source? The chaga mushroom, and I haven't even talked about this, combined with shilajit. Shilajit is jet black too. Everything has melanin if it has any part of the rainbow. The blue of the butterfly is a form of melanin. The coal that's black, the pink of the rose, they're all myriad combinations of melanin. There's 3 forms of melanin basic to human existence: melanin, eumelanin, and neuromelanin. In people of fair skin, they have what they call pheomelanin. Pheo is Latin. It actually means deficient. People of fair skin make their melanin more from sulfur, quite a high amount of sulfur. And sulfur is not necessarily bad or good per se, but the more sophisticated melanin production in all other races tends to use more selenium. And, selenium is so key to immunity that one of the biggest immunodeficient realities of China is that their soil is tremendously selenium deficient. So NASA actually has a form of melanin and selenium, which is a super healthy melanin. Of course, the people on this phone have to be an astronaut to get it, but it's called melanin, and I have a full description of that on 314. I've numbered the paragraphs, so the academics, the skeptics, the cell biologists, the lay people, that everybody wants to know how to be a little healthier. Now, whatever you are, whoever you are, whatever agenda you have or you don't have, if you want to be healthy in the world as it is now and explore the new frontier, I would say this article, of course, I'm biased because I wrote it, I would say it's required reading. I don't ask anyone to read the whole thing, but if you do, I think you'll be truly, truly surprised by the value in this article. So anyway, Karen, you're going to tell us about your interest in melanin or what you do in the wellness world in Iowa.
Karen, if you're talking, you have to unmute yourself, please.
She works with the docadetox.com, DOCOF Detox. Daryl Wolf, who's moving everything from British Columbia to create a safe haven of wellness options for anyone in the world in Ixtapa, Mexico. And that'll be opening up probably in the coming weeks. Today is December
16.
16. Today we meet with the College of Physicians and Surgeons about the other miracle that complements melanin, these essential oils. Not like anything, with all respect to doTERRA and these great essential oil legacies like Young Living. We have an essential oil formula. We started with Young Living and knowing Gary Young, and 30 years later, we have an essential oil that's been tested in a level 3 lab. There's only 11 on this planet, and it stopped COVID in under 3 minutes. So we're meeting tonight on the 16th for the second or third time with the College of Physicians and Surgeons from all of Puerto Rico. That's all the doctors, 3,000 on an island of hope, Puerto Rico, the new portal of possibilities for immunity, even in today's world. And we've met with the FDA, and hopefully in another couple of days, we'll have the final meeting with Puerto Rico FDA, and we will publicly test these products in the public school system on a minimum 600 kids because they feel it's that safe and effective. And then actually, this is Dr. Victor Vega. He's actually working now more and more closely with Dr. Arturo because we may bring Adam and Eve together. We may unite the Pacific and the Atlantic. We may bring the melanin science to these essential oils. In 30 days, we have a white paper. We have 30 people that overcame COVID-19, SARS, etc., with a licensed medical doctor of 36 years. His peer-reviewed white paper may be released in as little as 10 days for Christmas gift for humanity. So primarily this is about melanin, but this other Hispanic genius, 36 years, doctor of doctors, has taught doctors in 3 major universities on the mainland. He has this proprietary essential oil tribe. It's 25 different formulas for everything. And the one that stopped COVID in 3 minutes is not quite on the market, but it should be in a matter of weeks. And in both cases, these things are very little known. We haven't gone to the press. We haven't made the world aware. So this is an insider's phenomenon, this conversation and what these guys have done, but that's going to change because they've appointed me and some other people to bring this to the public without adversarial stance. We're not saying don't take a vaccine. We're saying just look at this science, do what you want. The new Secretary of Health for Puerto Rico wants to go public about the essential oils for the COVID treatment and prevention. And because he just got into office, that may not start to happen until after Christmas. And then the governor of Puerto Rico himself has said he might actually help blow the lid off this story about the essential oils. So anyway, Karen is interested in both the melanin and essential oils. She ordered these essential oils, as did Nada, who's coordinating the Zoom call. So Karen, it's probably your turn now. That is, she's got her figured out how to speak on this.
Yeah, she needs to unmute herself. We cannot hear her as is. But while she's doing that,
Yeah.
I can maybe Helma and we can speak in regard to what we have learned from Dr. Arturo from the previous call in regard to Kiapi-1, Kiapi-3, and the granules. So Dr. Arturo always says the health is not just in oxygen, not required as the oxygen. We need the water and the energy of the sun, which is found in the melanin. And
it's all intrinsic to melanin. It goes without saying. We all like need water and oxygen, but a lot of people don't know the basics of their own life. Everyone should get 15 minutes of sun, even in the cold of New York and upstate New York, where it's 10 below. You can get 15 minutes of sun in your window. That's the original vitamin, light and water. Nobody's drinking, very few people drink enough water, and very few people get enough sunlight. Those are intrinsic to getting the most from the melanin, no doubt.
And his doses, like 3 drops sublingual every 2 hours. But he said he had some cases where these drops have stopped the progress of a stroke. So the person was given or taking the drops, it stopped it, and then continued to take it every half hour for 2 drops, and it completely reversed the situation. He says what he told us in the past call was that what Kiapi does is basically harmonizes the body so that it can heal itself. Basically, it reconnects whatever the disconnector is in whichever case. And the drops for the eyes, they are used for, see, he is an ophthalmologist in a profession. So the drops are for glaucoma, macular degeneration, and whatever else goes on with the eyes. But the granules, which kind of struck me personally, the granules you apply after you eat, so a couple times a day on your gums on both sides, on one side and the other side. And he says, you know, the mouth is the gate to all of that stuff that is coming in. So when you
has to go there, right? All air has to come through the nose, and the epithelial membrane is the most susceptible to these viruses that are more popular now. So between the nose and the mouth, we need oxygen, we need food. So melanin helps with all of that. What do you call these granules?
Kiapi-3.
So that's Kiapi-3. The sublingual is Kiapi-1.
And Eto. And Eto are the eye drops. ETO are the eye drops. So I've ordered all 3 of them, and maybe they will be here tomorrow or the day after. And 4 of us are going to start taking it, all of it, and see what it does. I must say, the sublingual drops, for me, what it did, the first reaction was there was such a surge of energy into my brain, my head, which pretty much put me in a state of lightheadedness, or like you're floating on air or something. So it definitely is quite potent pretty much immediately once you take it. And it helps eliminating the toxins that we are exposed to, whether it's in the air, in the food, in the water, or wherever it is. So somebody asked him the question, so how long do you take it, right? And he said, Well, as long as we're exposed to all these toxins coming back in, we should continue taking it because it eliminates them from our system. So
And, it'll be a while before we clean the planet, but believe it or not, we can offset the carbon emissions, so to speak, and the contaminant emissions, which are in the hundreds of thousands of untested, not fairly tested, 200 chemicals in the average municipal water supply, not fairly tested. I won't talk about vaccines because I don't want people to get emotional and feel like I'm a fanatic, and believe it or not, I'm not. So yes, I'm glad that you're experiencing this. I'd like to have a call with people that have experienced these products, so people that have not can hear from them, not from me as a proponent, but from people. They're not selling it, at least not yet. They have no agenda, no reason not to share what their experience is. So in the near future, and everyone's welcome on these calls, it's just that if I know who the people are, I can coordinate and save a lot of time. This is an amazing supplement to Arturo and myself, Nada, what you've learned and experienced, and you're very, very good to the point explanation. So it's a tremendous addition to what we're trying to do. We just invite everyone to explore under no obligation Dr. Arturo Solis Herrera's work and his website, humanphotosynthesis.com.
yeah. Well, I have just received an email from Dr. Ruth, and she says that they are still in a meeting that kind of got longer and is getting longer than what they expected it to be. So she says it might be best if we could reconvene on Friday, please, because their meeting might take maybe another hour. So
we can kind of coordinate, we can guess about a day and a time even on this call, and I'll go ahead and pencil in, the possibilities, so I don't want to miss it, of course. So you want to ask her what would be good for her Friday?
she said Friday, so I can confirm that, and you all that are on the call and whoever is going to get the recording will get the message as well. So I'm going to respond positively. So the same time, Friday night, we will. Is that okay with everybody, or do you have a other time preferably? Anybody has any suggestion?
And this is Karen. I apologize. I had a couple things I was trying to calls I had to do from work. That was fine with me. I can try to make it. It just all depends on my call volume, whether or not I can attend. But I'll definitely listen to the recording. I would love to catch up with what I did miss. I was trying to listen to as much as I could.
Okay.
Very excited about the product.
So you want to hear it. We talked about it. So which Friday are we referring to? What date?
It is the 18th.
This Friday?
Yes.
So excellent, because we have to expand our pace. I always tell people the only thing that's going too fast is this virus, but we have to outlearn, outsmart, collaborate, get past our arguing, and figure it out. And I think we can, believe it or not. Even though billions of people are being convinced there's only one way to do this. So I don't want to get into that and act like I know it all, which I don't. So the 18th, tentatively at 7 p.m., we will have a call, and there'll be a greater richness. Maybe Arturo can remember to be on that call. Of course, he hasn't committed to it, but you can send him a communique. He's still welcome to join this call the last minute. And now we have another one planned. And especially for the people that want to resell the product, to have a good price point and to look at it on a practical standpoint, we do want people that are comfortable with marketing to know they have an opportunity. This is not a multi-level marketing. At least not at this time. I kind of doubt if it will be, but it is a fair market opportunity for people to resell and distribute intelligently and responsibly, because we have to be so careful about regulatory agencies, what you can say and what you can't say. But for people that need advice about that, I work with dozens of people that have had lots of communication with the FDA about wellness products for decades. So anyone that joins this group and they're concerned about safely exploring this and not upsetting any health authorities, that that rule over nations, which primarily they do to a great extent, maybe not exclusively, but overall they pretty much do. So anyway, we're not into an adversarial, conflicting, those evildoers type thing, although there's plenty of wrongdoing even amongst ourselves. So we're just out to point out the options and opportunities. How much time do we have on this call?
Oh, I think we have two, we have Helma and Nelly that have unmuted themselves, so I'm sure they have something to say. So let's hear you, okay? Nelly, what did you have to say?
Very interesting product. I would be interested to test it myself. And I'm sure lots of my patients could
Yeah,
benefit from it.
I agree. Thank you. And Helma?
Yeah, hi, it's Helma here. Do I recall Dr. Arturo saying the other day that this product is very complete in a way, so that it somehow he indicated that it's possible to not have to take supplements with it because it draws out the the wonderful minerals and vitamins from our foods naturally.
Yes, that's what he said. I remember that. It's also in the recording. Yes, he said that last time. So, because we asked him that question. Now, we also know that our food is unfortunately depleted. So that might be something to elaborate further when we are with him on the call.
You know what? I would like to take my turn at complimenting. And I emphasize complimenting. I'm not trying to be at odds with anyone, especially Arturo, not to say the least. However, I must say that he would be the first one to admit our food and water are deeply contaminated and depleted. So yes, ideally in time, actually, how do people live on light with no food? How does the albatross go from North Pole to South Pole with no food, no water? After 10 years, the people that study drones studied the albatross. It's a pretty efficient flyer. It doesn't even flap, it glides. But that's not the only secret. After 10 years, the neuroanatomists for the avian world, that means birds in scientific talk, avian, neuroanatomical, biophysicists and cell biologists determined that the fuel was melanin, and that the albatross has a very deep genetic tendency to make a bodacious amount of melanin jet fuel. And it is literally jet fuel because better than any jet, it flies from North Pole to South Pole every single year with no stop for any food, no stop for any water. Non-stop flight. This is the albatross. And the great super achievements of many geniuses, humans, animals, how do animals live without food for 3 months with 20 below zero? Yes, they might decrease their metabolism greatly in a cave if you're a black bear, but what is that about being a black bear? Well, I guess there's a lot of melanin in anything that's black. Okay, so anyway, there's a lot of levels to this. And by going back to like you could do without supplements, I'm sure you could do without food. I've seen that many times by humans. But I would say you have to be sure you're really confident you can fly on your own, like the melanin does, because it's a master of melanin. But for us to be that much of a master, that might take a little time. Meanwhile, you might want to take some very good vitamin C, etc. Okay. So I don't want to be at odds. It's not about being at odds. I'm just bringing the other ways of looking at this mosaic. There's nothing right or wrong, black or white, so to speak, in this introduction. It's about looking at the medicine wheel and us coming together. And I think we've laid a beautiful platform with people like Nada Corey in Florida to do just that, to bring these wonderful people, many of whom are licensed wellness practitioners, naturopaths, some allopaths, of course, some psychopaths like me, and botanical formulators of great fame and legacy. Nada Corey is bringing the most extraordinary essential oils from Croatia that have been grown for generations near the Great Pyramids of Croatia, which in many ways are older and maybe even more profound and more active, even than the most three famous Great Pyramids on this earth on the Giza Plateau, which of course was built in Africa in extremely hot weather in the desert. And those were black people. And how I can prove they were, those people that built those pyramids, I don't know if you want me to go there now, but I can go there in the future. And it has to do with genetics, melanin, astrophysics, nuclear physics, and I can explain all that anytime. But right now I want to give this back to Helma. And I think there's another lady, is there, that's on the phone? Maybe she hasn't.
No, it's Helma and Nelly. Yes.
Helma, oh, I see. Helma, can you on the record tell us what you do in the health world?
I'm an artist.
That's a health science in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm always interested in health and consciousness, so this topic is very interesting to me.
Yes. Well, the term melanin is used in the African American community artistically. It's a very big word, melanin. So there are many, many levels. The beauty is more than skin deep. You know, we must have melatonin to feel good and sleep at night. We must have serotonin to feel good and be active. So the melanin molecule actually will microdose all the psychedelics. You know, adrenochrome is what people steal sometimes from other people, but actually a healthy melanin network in your own body will microdose all those little tiny miniature doses, psychedelic DMT-like molecules. So this is the mother, I would say, is the mother, the matriarch of all life molecules, this melanin molecule.
Well, thank you, Eddie. Nelly, did you have something else to say?
No, just let me know where I can get the stuff. I definitely want to try and see what.
Well, I can share some with you what I have when I get it. No problem.
All right. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, for the health practitioners, and that includes the artists, because as I see art, it is a health modality for mental and emotional health. To see beautiful art, it helps our feel-good hormones and all of that. But anyway, there's a wonderful life science person who wants to be on the next call in Santa Fe. He's a naturopath, not a naturopath. It's a nuance of naturopathy. He's a licensed naturopath. He's from Jamaica. He's bilingual. He's naturalized U.S. citizen. He has many patients. He specializes in pain and trauma medicine. He works with the Department of Defense, the FDA, but he's an alternative licensed medical practitioner. Santa Fe, Dr. Dexter Russell. I think he might have sold his practice, but if you look up Dr. Dexter Russell, you may see a website that he wants to be the first chief reseller, maybe in 4 whole states. And I don't know how the reseller program will work eventually. We might have a few people, then pretty much supply it to the others. But Dr. Dexter Russell was going to speak to the royalty of Malta, the richest per capita place on earth, about new health frontiers. He wanted me to write his speech, but because of COVID, I encouraged him not to go there. So now we're going to do these things more virtually. So anyway, but this is Dr. Dexter Russell. I know that in the near future, you're all going to know about him because he wants to be a very ambitious reseller of the melanin family of products Dr. Arturo has. And he'll probably be the first chief distributor and reseller of the botanical essential oils that Dr. Victor Vega has in the capital of Puerto Rico in San Juan. And we've met with the FDA. Some of them were crying because they had to admit that out of 11 labs in the world with this essential oil formula, no other formula has done this, stopped COVID in 3 minutes. They might literally do a public herd scale, like 2,000 students in St. John's Academy, which is where the elite go to school, high school, in the capital of Puerto Rico in San Juan. So anyway, this is the real news, not so much maybe, this president has who's the president of their own cellular future. And that's within the hands of people listening to this call and free thinkers. And again, I'm not saying that don't do what your doctor says. You know, you can choose your own doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a tax accountant or a tax advisor or a business advisor. But what I am, I think, is evident in what I write. And that, I think, is more expressed in Article 314, which anyone can find in cyberspace, nano-resonant neuromelanin. But in the future, if people want to have some comments on melanin from the artist's point of view, or the acupuncture point of view, or the homeopathic point of view, melanin is much of that. Melanin is about as homeopathic as I can imagine. It's 30 nanometers. So a nanometer is 1 millionth of a meter. So homeopathy deals with very, very, you know, the smaller we get, the more power we find. That's why if you drop a glass of wine, you can mop it up. If you drop an atom, you may not be able to mop that up for a couple of generations. So the power within us is in these understandings of these subtle dimensions and very, very, very minute particles and antibodies, antigens. And that includes the botanicals, understanding how they work on an atomic, molecular, and subatomic level. And this is actually a part of the ongoing update of 314, all these subjects in great detail.
So Eddie, we were going to have a call with Dr. Vega from Puerto Rico on Monday. He canceled on us. Is that rescheduled or no chance?
You know what, tonight he's addressing the College of Physicians and Surgeons. So he's going to give me an update, which I'll share with everybody on a call about any of this, whether it's the melanin oils or any time. So I can do a spontaneous call for 20 minutes because there's a lot of titanic, world-changing news we haven't gone public with. And I can share it because I'm privileged to be an insider as much as anyone on both fronts, the melanin and the essential oils of Dr. Victor Marcial Vega, who's the leading oncologist in Puerto Rico. He's taught doctors how to be doctors in 3 leading universities. He's a doctor of doctors. I dare say Dr. Arturo is a doctor of doctors too, and now they're best friends. So in the near future, I'll have them both on a call, and that'll be like Adam and Eve first having a date, and everyone can be a fly on the wall.
Okay, we're looking forward to that. Thank you, Eddie.
So anytime any of you want to schedule anything, or you know what helps me, if anyone will text me, can I give people my number? Because with no formality or introduction, people can just say, this is me, what do you think about this? Or I want to tell you something, I want to educate you. And I'm willing to learn anything having to do with frontier health. So this is my number. Anyone can text me. I need no introduction. If you or your friends send me a text, this is so-and-so, it's on my phone, so efficient, here's my number. I'm on the East Coast, but I can talk in any time zone. 936 718-2747. And I sure need a lot of help with these oils and this melanin. There's so much to make the world healthy here. I couldn't do it justice, although we came pretty darn close in this one supreme summary, because we all get better at what we practice. So this was a pretty vast summary, I dare say, for just a mere 58 minutes. I must say, I'm privileged to be able to share this, especially with Nada's help, as in such a 360 deep and wide, right out of the gate, what all this could mean for our immunity and our choices, our health choices, wherever we live, whether it's Australia, where leading doctors, well, I don't want to get into all these things. I follow this on the level of nations and statistics, this infectious agent. And there's many others, like the Nipah virus, whose mortality rate is 95%. It's already out there. Whether these things are made in the lab or not, if you go downstairs in the basement of life, you may find that that is the armor of God. That is the armor of the God within you. the God molecule. And there are others, but I would think that in the pantheon, melanin is almost the hub of the wheel. There's the cannabidinol molecule. There's Artemisia from China, which is a tremendous antiviral, and even being tested by the FDA now and grown in Kentucky on tobacco-tired soil. You can even get the product. It works better with coffee. Why? What's the good side of coffee and tea? The pigment. See, melanin is a pigment. So dark chocolate, antioxidants, richness of color. That's why fruits, vegetables, those are all forms of pigment. Those are all forms of melanin. The orange of the orange, the blackness of every seed. How many seeds are black? Why is that? Black power. And white power, the yin and the yang. The melanin molecule talks all life waves, even EMF. It converts EMFs a lot in the body to a much safer frequency. This is what has astounded MIT. The study by MIT, I actually have part of their study on 314 nanoresonant neuromelanin.
Well, thank
Do we have
you.
any more time? Does anyone else want to give a rendition or make any comment on anything? How much time do we have?
I think we're complete. It's 8
Okay.
p.m. We have a full hour, so
Okay.
now,
If you could convert this link and send it to Ariane, let's see, Ancast, ANCAST 96 at gmail.com. That's my webmaster. If anyone wants to have anything to say on this updated blog on melanin and essential oils, they can call me and work with my webmaster. It's kind of an open book. Other people can come in on this. We're opening the door. We're trying to include as many people as possible on the oils and the melanin.
okay, well, I can surely do that. And right now I have rescheduled this call with Dr. Arturo for Friday, the 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, Friday, the 18th. I think we're going to have more than 3 or 4 people. I do believe this is a good warm-up for it. So Friday, that's just a couple days from now. I better really make this apparent on my schedule. Okay.
All right.
And I'll see you all then.
Thank you. Thank you.
Will you
Thank you,
send the web
ladies.
link out to all of us on this call, or do we need to request that?
No, I will send it to you. If you would be
Okay.
so kind and give me your email address, then I can send it to you.
Yes. Would you like me just to text it to you?
Yes, that would be great.
Awesome. I will do that right now. Thank you so
Great.
much for this call.
All right. Take care and have a good rest of the night. Bye-bye.
You too.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.